friends.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Now, welcome you all to the December meeting of Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Parish Council. Have any apologies?
Yes, we've got apologies from Louise and Helen.
Thank you.
A couple of things in public session, if I may.
Yes.
But just to start the meeting off with a smile, a very nice letter from John Pitts. As a big lover of Christmas lights, I just wanted to write and say how good our lights in Holme-on look this year. The tree in particular is our best lit ever, and thanks should be passed on to those involved. Also, the blacksmiths have their usual nice display, and it's lovely to see as you go around the village, all the residents with their displays. So that was that. And there's a nice letter from Father Christmas, came direct from the North Pole this morning. I'd like to say thank you for the Father Christmas outfit. Children are getting a lot of pleasure from it. And finally, from Louise, who can't be here, just saying, I wondered if a thank you letter should go to the school, thanking the choir, as everyone I spoke to said how fantastic they sounded.
Thank you. Moving on then. Minutes of the Parish Council meeting held on the 19th of the 11th, 2014. Are there any matters arising from these minutes?
Yes, in the minutes, there's a thing in there where the village hall play tournament, and it just, I asked who owns the land that the area sits on. And Bethany replied, it belongs to the, I said, who owns the land? And it was, this is the trustees of the village hall. It doesn't actually say Bethany, so. The trustees do not own the village hall land, do they?
Ministry.
Trust.
Yeah, ministry.
Yeah.
I just think we should make that clear, because it may be misleading to someone.
So they administer on behalf of the village or some...
It's the trust, but I don't know.
On the charitable trustees.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Another point, if that's okay. Further on planning application, I'm referring to the email from Alan Williamson here. And it says here that the email from Alan Williamson about planning issues was circulated and noted. Okay. Now that email was one, well that it was actually discussed, it wasn't noted, was it? It was a short discussion, but it was discussed.
Who discussed it?
Then it says,
There was one comment. It wasn't a discussion. As far as my memory says, Ernest said it's a family matter. We should not be discussing this.
Well,
That was the end of it, Gordon.
yeah, okay, that was, that's fine, I don't mind that's absolutely fine, if everybody feels that's the case.
Well, anyone I'm sure can go onto the web and listen to it.
Yeah.
And I don't think my memory is that.
It was offered for discussion anyway.
That may have been misreading by me.
Look, it doesn't matter to me, I just thought I mentioned it. But what I wanted to say was that this email was one of 19 that's been received by the parish council over the last 2 years from this person. The clerk will confirm this because he's sent them to me. In contrast, I haven't written one letter at all to the parish council or to anybody of complaints about this particular person.
Right. So what's this got to do with last month's minutes, Gordon, please?
Well, what it's got to do with it is Steve Young sent a letter to the parish council. Dated, I've got it somewhere.
Is this on the minutes, Gordon?
Part of it.
We want to sign the minutes off. Is this something that you want changing on last month's minutes?
This is a matter arising on the minutes. I think it is something that's relevant to this point.
Okay,
We'll
hang on.
see. Just give me a chance.
With respect, it's relevant further on in the meeting rather than because this is just confirming or not the meeting of the minutes of the last meeting.
Where should I bring it up, Steve?
You can pick it up in reports or the end of matters arising.
Okay, I'll bring
It is a matter
I'll bring it up
matter
later,
arising.
right. It's only a simple thing. That Peter, I don't want to make a big deal of it. It's a simple point a letter that was written by Steve to the parish council when this happened before, and it's just that I think that maybe we should incorporate this in standing orders. Okay, so we can do it perhaps as a rising measure if you wish.
Okay. Any more comments to make about last month's minutes?
There's
Are you all happy with that?
There's one more. Is that okay?
It's still in minutes, yes.
Again, this may be splitting hairs. I noticed it says the resident letter from Alec read confidentiality was noted. Okay, that was noted. I don't know what the content of that letter was. I don't think it was distributed or emailed. And
I think you'll find that you had that by email at some point before the meeting.
it was emailed with it. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Anything else, Gordon?
No, that's it then.
Have we got any declarations of interest regarding anything on tonight's agenda? Village Hall. Thank you, Village Hall.
Are you happy for me just to put people on Village Hall if they had a non-pecuniary interest rather than list you all every time? Saves a lot, yeah.
You need to put me on that soon as my missus is also on.
No, that doesn't apply. It's non-pecuniary.
Sorry, check.
Thank you.
It's a peculiar matter. It is a peculiar matter.
No, it's not. No.
Because you don't get any financial benefit from being on the village hall.
No, but what do you represent? Will get financial benefit from the fact that the play area is taken over by the job.
It's a non-pecuniary interest. It's not pecuniary. Pecuniary relates to financial benefits to yourself or a spouse.
Oh. Yeah, just think that there may be a grey area there. If you're interested in for the body that you represent as well.
No. With respect to, there's no grey area. It's a non-pecuniary interest. So.
Okay.
Right, moving on. Matters arising. Child protection officer.
Yeah, I've got an update email that arrived yesterday, I think it was, from the guy that should have come the last time, saying that Wednesday the 21st of January will be the best day for me. I gave him a couple of options, and I'll make sure it's underlined in my diary. So I will confirm to him a few days before the 21st of January, but we're having him early, did you say?
Yes.
7 o'clock?
Yeah.
7 o'clock. So I'll confirm that to him at 7 o'clock on the 21st of January, which is the next meeting.
Parish Council website, update.
I emailed Stephen Stevanovich, something like that, and he is going to get it, he hopes middle of January. I should be able to start doing stuff with it. So that's as far as I've got, I'm afraid. I can't do anything without them.
Thank you. Wind turbine, renewable funds, etc.
No, nothing to report on wind turbines. The adoption of Moor End has been refused by the East Riding. This is John Harlan, Service Manager, and he writes, the two roads are substandard in terms of their width. There's no street lighting, no footway on one of them, very limited drainage and poor turning heads. And it's not possible to tell what the construction is like, but there are areas where the surfacing has worn away and the underlying tarmac looks to be in poor condition. So they won't take on the maintenance liability. I have replied, because this again is fairly new, I have replied saying that the road is much better than a lot of roads in the village, There's lots of adopted roads that have no street lighting. The footway, the drainage and the turning heads are not relevant, and the construction of the road are really not relevant, because other areas in the village look as bad as that, or worse than that, and we'll wait to hear. I know Victoria has worked very hard on this and is disappointed as well.
Yeah, very disappointed. Because sort of jokes are right I have actually had highways officers out to the site and Steve and I met with them there, and the gist was that they were sympathetic towards the parish, but this has been higher up. So what I've asked for is that I've asked for a meeting with and invited John Harmon to come out, and if we get that, that'll be obviously in the new year. If we get that, then I will ask the chairman to join us as well, because I think that it is fairly unreasonable for the parish to actually have the responsibility of a road. It's not a normal asset that the parish will have to deal with, and that will be the line that I'm taking. But keep pushing, this is pushing water up at the moment, but we should keep going.
Thank you. Someone's a report.
I've got an email that's just arrived again. If you could pass it down, thank you, Tim, from Mrs. Brocklesby. It's very short. If you, oh, sorry. Oh, I just want to read that. If I may, a couple of other bits of information that I think are relevant. The land that is now the cemetery was bought in the year 2000. It was consecrated in 2009. So the land was bought 14 years ago. And I've checked on the internet, and my understanding is that the only way that you can get access by use is if you do it for 20 years and you can prove it. And then there's the information I sent out.
Anyone any comments to make about the anything to do with the minutes of the meeting we held with Mrs. Brocklesby?
Well, if you remember the meeting we had, Mr. Chairman, we weren't disputing any right of way through that gateway from the old cemetery to the new cemetery, which was put there when the house was found that. But what I can't understand about Mrs. Brocklesby wanting a right of way is that when we bought the land, we fenced it off and we left a gateway about that wide
for them to walk through and have a right of way, walking right of way. They weren't satisfied with the shelter belt, which was planted 3 times and hasn't been a success yet. So they put their own fence up, right close to ours. Well, they didn't leave it. They put their own fence up, but they didn't leave a gateway through. Where we left one, they didn't leave one. So they must have thought at the time, well, we don't need one. So I find it very, very funny that that happened when they put their own fence up. But as she did, as you said, she did say that she brought her vehicle around to maintain the right of way, which she said she has. And but I have never seen any marks of a vehicle going down there. But I've had a word with Stephen that was tonight and said what she does do. But
She actually claims that she unloads her vehicle over the fence into your field,
that's it.
carries it down the field and then back over into her,
Yeah.
into her property.
Which I find a bit strange. They look pretty well.
From a legal perspective, if I may, the only thing legal is the land registry plan, which shows that she has a right of way along the back of her property, and that does not include the area that I coloured yellow on my rather schoolboyish picture, but I hope it makes the point. And the parish council have only owned that land for, what did I say, 10 years? Or whatever it was? 14 years. So before that, the parish council had no interest in any right of access there. And was the gate open at that point? Was the existing gateway there when we bought it? Or?
I believe so. If I'm memory serves me right, I believe so. Yes. Into the old church. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that now connects the two
Yes.
churchyards.
Yes. I believe so. Yes.
I understood that was put in purely for access to our new cemetery, but I don't know.
It was there when we bought Beacon Farm. So that's 50 years ago.
Oh.
Thank you.
But again,
There's
there's
two
no...
gates, one at either side of the graveyard, and that was for the right of way to the house. And that's the only way, right of way there is from the Churchlich gate to that gate in the cemetery. There's not even a right of way to the graveyard, really, or the Catholic graveyard. It was just purely for that house.
But not specifically on the area marked yellow is the point.
Well, it was where the gates are now. It was there.
Well, not on the land registry.
It didn't matter what language it says, it was there. I'm telling you where it was.
Yeah.
That's where it was, that time. And it still is.
Any other comments?
Actually, you don't have to do anything at all here. And I think that's the best thing to do.
We suggested to Mrs. Probably that she goes to her solicitors to see if there is a overlay that it can be, something, an amicable agreement.
Hopefully, it will be amicable. We don't know it's all. Let her do whatever she has to do.
Would it be politic in the meantime to write to her saying that the parish council does not see that the landmark yellow is a formal public access for her, or formal access for her? Because in theory, in 6 years' time, the 20 years are there. I don't know. I'm asking what you want me to say.
I have had a little experience with the right of way. The best thing is to do nothing. Or either that or take advice from, if there is a solicitor you could ask.
And I think it would be best for Mrs. Brockleby to prove to us She had to solicitors or whatever.
Okay.
Certainly. Well, I thought we'd have some sort of, we consulted. So you're going to fire up a letter.
Yeah, I'll drop a note, just confirming
Okay.
basically what we said.
Handyman shoes.
I have nothing to report on that at all, whether the lease has been signed off.
I've been calling,
Right.
not investable. Grapevine.
That was basically just to see if anybody had any comments and just to report that the photocopier is a real pain. It's not fit for purpose and it's going back. And I'm currently getting prices which I'll advise you for a new copier.
Is it, I thought this was the one your dad replaced or
Yeah.
bought just lately?
They told me it would do all the jobs that it needs to do, and when I came to do the grapevine, the machine shut down every time it had done 20, so it took forever to print, and the consumables, they wouldn't, it's a long story, but their policy is not to give out multiple numbers of toners, and so the print run that we've got for the grapevine needs, say, 3 black toners, and they would only release 1 at a time. And so every time one went down, I was waiting for the next one to come. So it took, you wouldn't believe it, the hassle that we've had with them. So that meant that as the grapevine was delivered in 2 halves, because it just wasn't possible to get the print run done. Normally it takes a couple of days, and it took just over a week this time. So I was a little bit cross with them, as you can imagine. And we've agreed that it will go back at no cost to the parish council. And I'm currently, I've got 4 quotes for a new replacement machine. And I'm damn sure that it's written in black and white exactly what I want from it, or we want from it.
Crime prevention, dogs.
Yeah, very low take-up. It's just not happened. And the £3,000 granted, if we use 20 door locks, I think, across the 5 parishes, that would be about it. So that's a little bit disappointing, really. We haven't got the grant. We have got thoughts on if we can divert the grant, but we'll pick that up under Meadowfields.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm speaking to Club tomorrow to see what comes out of if there's any pick up on the offer.
Yeah.
So, the local grant fund. Sorry?
Sorry, we could put up a poster in the doctors as well. You know, because that might get some residents that are vulnerable.
It could, yeah. Thank you.
It was this putting a bit of press release all the time.
It wouldn't do any harm. It's been to every home in Grapevine. Yeah, and it was not a small one, you know.
Shall we pull together a
Yeah, we can do that.
press release?
Yeah, we can do that.
Are you happy with that? Do you want me to sort of complete that to get that
Yeah,
in the
yes,
grapevine? In the school
yeah.
side?
Little times, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Can we do it across the parish? We've got all the
It was a cluster thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the thing, yeah.
I'll
You would do an outlook,
send you an email.
Yeah.
The local grant fund. 1415.
Yeah, we're waiting for, as I advised you by email, I've put a grant application in for the litter bin and doggy bin for the end of the Snicket here, and also for male toilets in the village hall. So those are now in, and they won't probably be discussed until just after Christmas. The 2 REN grants, and sorry Bethany, I've not told you, the one for the chairs has been turned down, and the one for the World War I memorial has been turned down, which is a real shame. We've got a meeting planned between the soccer club and the FA and the community sums people on the 23rd of January to talk about the needs of the soccer club, and they need to bring the bottom of the field into play. and the money is available for that. That's been confirmed. So yeah, that was a. We'll have to look again at the chairs, and I'll be in touch with you.
Village Hall, let's adoption, please.
Yeah.
The Village Hall Committee has agreed that I can sign it, so as and when
Well,
we want
with,
to do it, or how we want to do it, or
yeah, with your permission, there's a course, the one we talked about by email, on playground inspections on the 24th of February, and I've provisionally booked Pete and Steve to go on that course. So I suggest that we arrange the adoption for the 1st of March after the course, and then it can be seamless if that fits with everybody. Yeah, so I'll confirm those two places. And the Village Hall paying for that?
yes,
Yeah.
the course. For the first set of the course, we said we would, yes, that's fine. One other thing is, it isn't a problem. You reminded me, we do have a dog on the lead order, and I think no dogs in the play corner order in the Village Hall and the football pitch. And so the play corner one would be then have to be taken over by the parish council. Currently it's got my name on it. Now obviously that isn't an issue. I can, if there's ever an issue, I can forward it on to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether formally we need to let the dog people know. They did a survey not so long since, didn't they?
They did,
so
yeah.
you forwarded it on to me. So I filled it in
Well, you
and
can
said
send it to me. I'll talk
Yeah.
to Mike's boss, David.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it isn't a problem, but he did say those orders were unusual. We
Yeah.
do have one for the play corner.
Okay.
Another thing.
Do you want to do that? Do you want me to do it?
Don't know whether I can
Okay. Pete and myself met with the two people from the housing department of the East Riding on Tuesday last. Pete had been around with all the residents on Meadowfields to talk to them about the World War I memorial, and noticed that some of the front doors are in very bad condition, they're very old, and they need replacement. He identified problems on the paths from the footpath to the front door. In some cases, there are very dangerous trip hazards. And he also identified some of the front gardens where the garden is sort of much lower than the path, so they're walking along the path. And if they did fall off, it would be obviously very dangerous and cause damage. So we spoke to the housing people about this, and the thought was that if they couldn't afford to replace all the front doors in the short term, we might talk to the police from a front door security point of view, and any money not used for the door chains, we could divert. Haven't done that yet because we're waiting to hear now from the housing, because they're going to let us know which bungalows are going to have the doors replaced over the next 6 months. And so any that aren't going to be replaced, we could maybe look at that as a scheme to try and help them. They're going to look at the paths that we identified as being problems. In one case, there's a manhole right in the middle of the path, so they're walking from the footpath to their front door, and there's a manhole.
A raised manhole.
Yeah, raised manhole, so quite a bad trip hazard. And they were very happy if the parish council wished to provide soil to build up the gardens to the path level. And so that's something we thought we might talk to the residents about in the new year. Once we get into the spring, and if we can find some soil and get somebody to drop that on the garden, and we can get a few people just to spread it, we could then maybe talk to the rural or somebody to provide some turf to make the gardens good, and it would make it a lot safer. So those were the things that we came up with. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, those houses, I mean, when you've been around and noticed that the front doors are getting in bad repair, the paths are getting in bad repair, don't the council themselves inspect them regularly?
I'm sure they're doing this.
They kind of notice what's there, if you notice it there.
No, to be honest, she did agree that the original front doors, of which there are still more than 50%, still have the original front doors, are just not up to anything at the moment. Single pane of glass as large as the hatch there into the kitchen. Most of them rattle like mad. There's absolutely no heat retention whatsoever in the doors. and the doors themselves are actually ill-fitting. Like everything, it's down to money. So they are going to go away, have a look at what's planned in the next few months, and then we're going to start. The proposed twinning with
Les Juifs. The Grapevine article has brought two people forward expressing interest, and we've also had interest from the lady who has started the French wine business and advertising the Grapevine, Muriel or Muriel, or what she's called, and the school have expressed an interest. They emailed saying it's something that they would like to maybe get involved with, and they see benefits obviously of going to stay there and people coming here and so forth. I don't know how you want to progress that.
Well, if we've got volunteers that would like to go run with it, then
There were only two, or one couple and one single.
yeah. Well, we have to give them the opportunity. I mean, I'm quite willing to go over and test the local wines and food. No, I think it's great that they're willing to get involved.
Shall I arrange a meeting and invite anybody from the parish council that might want to get involved as well, and we'll take it from there, see Mark from school will come to.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Right, the litter bin and doggy bag dispenser to be sited adjacent to the snippet area.
As I explained by email, I thought, well, I'll put a grant application in because we had a grant for the previous litter bins and doggy bags, so I put it as an extension of what we've done already, and if it comes through, fine. If not, then you've agreed to buy it, and we'll only waste maybe perhaps a month maximum, and we might get them paid for.
The red telephone box on that lane.
Yeah, I've advised them that we want to adopt, and we've had that confirmed that that's okay. By East Riding, they're passing it on to British Telecom, and I've written to contact British Telecom, and he's sent me a video link to YouTube, and it shows how a Manx, the Isle of Man, I guess Manx, telecom box has been lifted, and they're the same as ours, and the contractors always use an HIAB vehicle, etc., etc. So I'll send that link on to you. Please have a look about it. Have a look at it. And we would need, if we go ahead, once we get the new site arranged, we'd need to get permission, obviously, from the highways to site it if it's on their land. So I'll send that link on, and that will take its course.
Okay. The pedestrian crossing, centre of the village.
You want to report on that, shall we?
Yes, the surgery on Saturday morning, a nice lady came in.
Marlene Tennyson. Marlene Tennyson. Had a cook.
It lives just round the back of and she would like to push strongly for this crossing that we've been promised. We have been told that funding, if funding is available, it will be for the next financial year. But this lady is willing to go around, get the petition signed, knock on doors, and that sort of thing. I suggested that if I can get my magic camera to put a date and whatever on a picture, I will go down Sands and Deal when the village centre is absolutely heaving, and take some photographs to back everything up. If anyone has any other suggestions, please.
The CCTV is pointing at, you can see the blacksmiths, the front of the blacksmiths and most of the road across to the shops.
Right.
So we could use CCTV to count cars or whatever, potentially, if you want to. That does have a date and time stamp on it also.
Thank you. Well, there are certain times of the day when it's possibly dangerous.
But we've got that as footage.
Yeah.
And on the children night when they used to go children going back and forth to the shop and that.
It's a very effective thing to video traffic. It really does point out how nasty it is. Maybe you should put some videos together. Just a
Yes,
suggestion.
I'm not all good at this, but I can give it a go.
Well, I think it does really point out the aggression of the situation. And that needs to be done there.
Other towns, Mr.
Some
Chairman,
of the HGVs are moving at considerable speed when they get to the centre of the village.
other towns, Mr. Chairman, we've been asking this for years and years, but it's across it. The other towns have always said, oh, we'll have a traffic count. And then they've come up with the saying that, well, the count isn't legal and it doesn't justify it because there isn't the traffic on the road. Well, that sounds as though it probably doesn't take place now because you say they've sort of promised for a pedestrian crossing in this next financial year, probably.
The request for crossing at the shops is in the forward programme and will be considered for financing in the financial year 14-15. Depends what other schemes we have and what priority they are and how much money we're spending. It all needs to balance out. That was a reply back in January of this year. And I've nagged him 2 or 3 times since, and the last one I have is the 13th of November, and he's talking to his senior engineer to find out what the position is. So that's the sort of latest we've got.
So we're hopeful. But anything we can get together to back this up, it can only be good.
Sounds as though it's a bit more positive after 20 years about
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
That financial year is now.
Yeah, quite.
So that finishes in 3 months, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beginning of April. So
Couldn't we put in about the lorry accident of Holme Road that diverted all the traffic through the village the other day? Because it was horrendous with traffic coming from the village that way.
I'd like to believe
But
it.
I remove. It's terrible. In fact, two articulated lorries, I believe, got stuck up Iron Lane, so that blocked Iron Lane up as well.
Okay. I'm sure we could mention that.
Again, try and get the school involved, get the school to do a project counting traffic. Why can't the kids? It's a good geography project to count traffic. I know I did it as a high school student, so they might do it. You know, if you can get somebody else to count the traffic, why not? And you know, it's worth a thought. Maybe they could do a project on it.
Car traffic is just as big a problem as moving traffic.
Yeah.
Once the centre of the village gets stuck with park stuff, it then becomes extremely dangerous.
And the zebra crossing, I presume there'd be so much either side of it you couldn't pass.
That's what they zigzag as supposed to be, but the market we can do that totally
Yeah,
intervene.
we can actually then bring the enforcement point in.
Yeah.
That is where the traffic complaints are.
Yeah.
Is it mine?
Yes.
Yeah, Marnie's contacted me, and obviously Steve's looked into this. I will meet him tomorrow for that.
I can't, I'm afraid.
No, you can't. I haven't. They'll just come back, and you can't.
I can't help.
Right, just what back? Are you not very well? Right. That's all
I'll
right.
do better.
Is Marnie expecting me there then tomorrow morning? Or?
I put her in touch with you, and
Right. Well,
beyond that.
nobody's come back then.
I
I'm just looking here at my string, and
I haven't got a phone number for her, I don't think. It's just
so she probably doesn't. I'm just wondering if my office has made a mistake and actually just sent it back to you instead.
I don't think I've had anything from Marlene. I did ask her to keep me in the loop.
I bet you she hasn't. Yeah, that's what's happened then. I'm just looking here. What my office has done it. You reply back to you, but not to her.
Yeah.
So she's not expecting to meet me then tomorrow morning.
It doesn't look like it, no.
Well, perhaps.
I'll email her and
Yeah.
loop you again.
Well, either that or maybe before we go tonight, I've got my diary here, so maybe we can come up with something and with the hope that she can join in as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we need to get her.
I know she needs to be
Yeah.
part of it, but
Yeah.
if we get through it, then
Yeah.
are you with
Yeah,
me?
happily, yeah.
And just on that, I will make some inquiries prior to me being elected, but I know North Cave, they've managed to get a zebra crossing in North Cave. I'm fairly confident to say that the school was fundamental to that because it was part of the village not being able to get to the school without crossing. So there's all the olds, sort of that side. Them getting to the school it'll all be part of the argument.
They've got a
They've got
school
one
crossing patrol
And they
at
are
the
further
school.
down.
Yeah, they turned us down for the crossing there
Did
on the
they?
basis that there is a crossing patrolman.
Okay, it's sort of looking at the broader picture. I will continue. I will anyway sort of inquire as to what hooks they use at North Cape to get there. And that's not been in that long. It's been in maybe 4 or 5 years or something. Okay.
Right, going on. The tree on the central green that's all blue.
This is something that Anthea brought up a little while ago, and I asked Ollie to look at that. Ollie Southgate, who's done bits for us before, and he said best to wait until the canopy's gone. Well, obviously the leaves have gone now. He's been to have a look, and he says that the phone line runs through it, and probably needs some odd branches that are interfering with the line to be removed. Other than that, it's not that big and not near anyone's house, so I can't see a problem. And he suggests careful removal of limbs going around phone cable, and then to take all the waste off site, and he quotes £100 for that. I don't know whether you want to go ahead with that or...
How do you feel? £100 to trim the tree?
Do the telecom people do it if we don't?
Not in my experience.
No,
I've not asked about this one.
The electricity people do them, don't they? And that's an ongoing thing all the time. I would have thought they want to protect their wire.
They only do it when it breaks, and then we do something like that. Until it breaks, we don't know.
Okay.
It might be worth getting another quote off. The village hall has been using loose tree surgery.
From Cocky Hill. They were the people that took out the village spoon too.
And the church. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. I can ask them to come and have a look at it.
I think the residents were, well, the resident who's complaining really was that it was going across the road and it was more kind of going towards her building. She was saying it was blocking lights out and everything else, even though it's quite a distance away.
It doesn't seem feasible, does it? I mean,
But
lots
it's
of
just a case of that's what
and all he says is that isn't.
Yeah, we have had a look at it before. See what.
It's not the one that we spoke to Mrs. Cole about. It's another one, isn't it?
It's not the one with the bird in it,
I didn't see one when I went.
There's a bird singing in one of them.
Yes, there was. That's right. Sorry.
It's a bird.
Was the other tree, the residents actually removed the tree off Stone Lane, which was another one that was they've actually taken down themselves.
Do you want me to get another quote? You don't legally need to, but do you want me to get one?
Is it worth it for £100?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'll do it if you want me to.
I think £100 we just go ahead and trim the tree.
Presumably, should we go for please?
It probably would be a chainsaw job, and we've said we're not going to let Peter use a chainsaw because he's not had training yet.
Right.
I'm assuming it is. I haven't looked at it in terms of the job. I've always been a local lad and stuff. I can see.
You could have ignored it altogether, couldn't you? That's the option.
Well, the time I went down, the lady complaining about this tree and saying how dark it was and it was impairing her vision. And we were looking around it and another lady came from the other side of the road and said, I hope you haven't got to go over that tree. Where did we go in?
It was an interesting meeting, though.
Thank you, Dennis. So, do we feel that we should leave it, invest £100 or get a second quote?
I propose we leave the tree because it's going to be like what Andy said, isn't it? I think. unless Ollie thinks it definitely needs the wire protection.
Well, perhaps you could explain to, I don't know who it was you spoke to. So is that leave it?
So, we leave the tree. All those in favour of doing nothing.
It's a nice positive. Is that everyone?
Yes, thank you.
That's leadership.
There's a couple of very quick things, if I may. I've written again to the Citizen Link people because I tried to get in there when we met these people on Meadowfield, couldn't get in, and they're going to liaise and get back to us on that one. And then there was also, just very quickly, the Christmas, I don't know whether people saw in the Good Times, that was the sleigh with Father Christmas and the elves, and Louise is on there with a couple of other people, and that was in the Good Times.
Mr. Chairman, can I make my point now?
Yeah.
We'll go to the right place.
I think so.
Okay. It's a simple point. Stephen wrote me a letter, or wrote a letter to the Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Parish Council on 18th of the 5th, 2012. I have it here. Referring to the letter that was passed around at the last meeting concerning myself. I'll just read a piece of this letter if you like. I had a conversation with Gordon on the morning after this week's parish council meeting. He was concerned that the email from Alan Wilson read out at the meeting was unknown to him before it was read out. I accepted this and apologised to Gordon. I should have copied him so that he was ready for the email to be read out. As he said, it was difficult to grasp what was being said and therefore to reply in the way that he wanted. Any future correspondence to the parish council that names a parish councillor will be copied to that parish councillor before it is made public at the parish council meeting. Now that didn't happen last week.
So, all I can do is apologise.
What's then Steve's very point about what he thinks we should do?
I think it's something that you as a parish council need to decide, because I'm put in an invidious position quite a few times and I have to make decisions, or not make decisions, I speak to Peter at least about things, and it's not easy sometimes, and when the different things, every time something happens like that, there's a different circumstance and perspective on it. And when letters are written about somebody and somebody else writes a letter back, then what do? Do you think, well, he's a right to reply, or he hasn't got a right to reply, or should we? And there are times I don't know, and I hold my hand up that it's not my decision.
No, Steve, I wasn't meaning about whether the letter should have been brought to the meeting. I think that's a separate issue. But you said here in this letter, any future correspondence to the parish council that names a parish council will be copied to that parish council before it is made public to the parish council meeting.
Yeah, the letter at the last meeting wasn't made public. It was handed round to parish councillors, and then that was the end of it. So that was what Pete and myself discussed, wasn't it?
You don't think that's? You think it wasn't made public by being handed out?
It wasn't made public. It was passed to parish council.
It was passed to parish council.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Well, I would hope that having been asked to read the letter, that would be the end of it. I hope people just don't go out and speak about things like that. It's not guaranteed, but if the letter's addressed to the parish council, what do we do? We say, yeah, no, not this time.
Well,
What do we
according
do?
to this letter, what you do is you let the person who's named in the letter know it's going to be read out before the meeting.
Well, I do apologise that that hadn't happened.
Do you think we ought to put that in standing orders? Because it doesn't really matter to me, because this has happened before to me. But I think that it's not nice for any parish council to be surprised by something like that in a meeting which they're expecting to deal with issues on the agenda. So I don't know if this could have been, I just wonder what anybody thought, whether this should go on to understanding orders, or whether this letter that we have here is a precedent, and that Steve would remember to have a word in the ear of the individual concerned.
Not taking precedence. Well, I probably agree that we should have something perhaps in writing.
Just pass that down. Anybody wants to see this letter? I've only got 4 copies.
Mr. Chairman, where do we stand when somebody to make an accusation against the parish council? What are the procedures for that?
I'm led to believe that it should not be discussed at the parish council meeting. But that's why I asked everyone to read the letter, and it wasn't discussed.
Right.
And if I didn't make it clear that it's not what people to discuss outside the council meeting, then that's my mistake. But I think I'm reading this, that it was something that was going to be read out. And at no point did we intend that letter at the last meeting to be read out and made public.
If I can, Mr. Chairman, wouldn't it be better any accusations that are directed to a councillor are actually passed to the stand of court if the person thinks they've got a good enough reason for it to be passed to a higher authority, rather than dealt with in the manner it was at the last meeting?
Right, well, if that's how you do
If
it.
if it's an accusation towards one of the councillors, they should then be directed to the standards board, and it really shouldn't have come to the table at all.
My only concern with that, and it's your decision as a parish council, please, but my concern is that you've got to accept that you are all members of the public as well as parish councillors, and if a letter came in about a member of the public, that should be treated parish councillor should be treated the same way if that were the case, and that would be the only comment I would make on what you've said.
There were more than 3 letters. There were 19 letters over a period of 2 years written to Steve to receive those letters. And only 3 of them, I think, were brought to this table. The others weren't.
Well, I'm going to probably hand up, as far as I know, this is the only one that I've been chair.
Yes.
I can remember. You all know that I'm new to this here. If I've made a mistake, then I can hold my hand up and say it, and I did apologise last week, last month. But, it wasn't discussed. It was just, people were just asked to read his letter, his email, whatever. There was no discussion, and he's made one comment. It was a family matter.
I made a comment as well. But I think what we should do is try and draw a line and go forward. I don't think we'll be pointing fingers at anybody. I think that's pointless. But if for any individual parish council to have that happen to them, it is not a nice thing at all. It's unfair. And the parish council comes to the meeting with the agenda, is prepared with the agenda. That's what he expects to see. And I think that, as Steve says in his letter, that he will tell the parish council beforehand. And I thought that was fine. I think that was, when he wrote that letter, I thought that was good. But he didn't do it in this case. Well, should we say that he will do it in future? Would that be the way to go forward? So an easy enough thing to
If
do.
you'd
Isn't
like
it?
to make that suggestion, Sean, put that as a proposition.
The only thing that worries me, this is dealing with me, and as I say, I've had this before, and it doesn't matter too much to me. It amounts to very little, really. But I think if it happens to someone else, they really wouldn't like it, isn't it? And I think we should make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. So I can propose that the clerk does forewarn the parish councillor if he is a letter going to be brought before the parish council which refers to him. Is that clear? I propose that that's what we ask the parish clerk to do.
And I'll second that.
But just parish councillors, no other members of the
Well,
board.
we could, if anybody thinks we should do that, because it's only fair for anybody else, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Members of the public will be in the same difficult position.
Yeah.
So we've brought it to any person mentioned in the parish council, in a letter brought before the parish council, should be forewarned by the parish clerk.
Understood.
You as a parish councillor can make that decision, of course.
Okay, well,
Having one rule for one,
no, absolutely not to the other one.
If it's a transparent committee, why should there be any need anyway?
Well, Gordon feels it was had done that at the last meeting.
It was.
It's just a matter of having the right to reply to such a letter, isn't it? Beyond expecting that you can't formulate a reply to that.
Well, once again, it wasn't made public.
It wasn't on the agenda.
No, because it can't be brought up. It's not on the agenda. As you are now, in fact. But I'll go anyway, either way with it, but I think it should be everyone, not just parish councillor.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
But all those in favour then, if any comment is made or is about to be made at a parish council meeting regarding any member of the parish, that person should be forewarned. Those in favour?
So everybody, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Planning applications.
Certificate of lawfulness.
All right.
And again, this isn't a planning application, we've had another one similar. That's just for information, for the parish council to provide information.
There's been an application for a certificate of local development, proposed certificate of localness, proposed installation of roof-mounted solar photovoltaic panels at Frontier Agricultural Home Industrial Estates, Declare. Comments? No problem.
No. And the next one is Mrs. Rhodes.
Erection of one dwelling following demolition of property and one associated work to property 2 at Ireland Grange Cottage. Comments?
Well, it's right out of the way. Nobody will see you doing it. Nothing lets you go, especially.
No comments?
The next one is just an amended block plan. If people have seen it, it doesn't look a lot different to, that's the new one, and behind is the old one. And it's just a different position of the
Static caravans and welfare facilities and store medical supplies. As they said, an amended block plan for land west of New Farm, Cliff Lane.
Can anyone tell me if the pigs on that land actually belong to the Goodalls?
No, the bed and breakfast pigs.
Bed and breakfast
It
pigs?
belongs to one of the firm.
Well, there's an awful lot of complaints about the smell down there. I've had 2 people ring me up. The stink is atrocious. Because of the pigs that have died, they put them in this bin and nobody comes and takes them away till the smell is absolutely foul. Is there anything we can do about that?
Well, if they're welfare, they should come under the welfare act.
Well, nobody's picking up on it then because they're not taking the stuff away. And I
I
said,
think the way they usually run the fair, the rules of these.
well, whatever, the smell is atrocious.
Yeah.
Besides Douglas Farm, doing the smells on the that cycling trail they've got down there, there's the pig smell as well, and the stink is terrible.
Well, I mean, those people who are complaining to us can complain to the welfare.
Yeah.
Can't they?
Yeah.
You also, if I may, in each grapevine there's a telephone number of the Environment Agency, and that's just, and they can use that.
Well, I think they've had a go at that, but they don't think it's any better.
So, any other comments to be made about this amended plan? No. And the erection of a detached dwelling, it's an amended scheme again, for land south east of 42 Old Road. It's been through before, so anyone any comments?
No,
Then that's fine.
the plot was being wanted to be developed a long time.
Could I just, there are 2 further planning applications that have just arrived, and both of them can be considered in January. One is at 141 Back Lane, Tony Draper, 2-storey extension to the front, and the second one is Nigel Turner at 55 High Street, she's just next door to the Hare and Hounds, erection of a dwelling following demolition of stables. So that'll be on the next agenda.
There are no planning decisions as advised by Chief Secretary Josh
There
Council.
are since, if I may, sorry, they've come in since the agenda went out, and there are 2. There's the Middlebrook Mushrooms, erection of 12 mushroom houses, and that was granted. And there's the one at Hawthorne Drive, Mrs. Julie Mayman, single-storey extension to front, etc., and that was granted as well.
Thank you.
And if I may, and then I'll shut up.
Okay.
Sorry. The forward planning information that I've sent you about the extra proposed allocation of 55 houses, somebody will be coming to the January meeting to discuss that, and I've just sent you all the proposed site, and it's at the back of Sands Lane, as you will see. I've had it in writing that the Parish Council's comments following the next meeting will be taken into account. So there's no problem with that. It's just a case of, obviously, at the next meeting, chatting to them and then coming up with with your thoughts. I have advised them that based on previous things, I would expect you to object to it, and I did that to make sure that your comments could be considered. You know, I've given them notice that there will be that there will be comments made, sort of thing. Thank you.
Okay, accounts.
Yeah, there were 2 to be confirmed, and the reason for that was that one of them was the organ at the event, Christmas event, and the other was for 3 reserve plaques, because we've now used the 3 original ones up, and I wanted to pick them up, so I wanted to take the check. So those to be confirmed, and the to be approved ones, Pete Wiles, it's actually £461.95, because Pete spent a fair bit on things to do with Christmas, hasn't he? Which his expenses were a lot more. Then there was Steve Deere, there was the clerk's salary and expenses, the staples for the paper for the photocopier, the service level agreement for the street lights, East Riding Council election costs for the election on the 16th of October, and then the reimbursement to Peter, and that was for various bits and pieces. Again, I think that was related to Christmas, wasn't it? Which I've got here if you wish to cable ties, Christmas tree baubles, lights, timers and lights. And then as well as that, Brian Denness did some work on the big Christmas tree. He hasn't charged anything for his labour, but the parts that he had to put in cost £70, 14p, and HMRC tax and national insurance on salaries for the third quarter of the year is £1,109.13. And then Pete's just given me the bill from Woodland Nurseries for the big Christmas tree and all the small Christmas trees, and that bill came to £500. So those are the cheques to be approved for us.
Just as an aside to that, last year we paid £1,216 for the tree. That's where all the small ones were actually supplied, fitted, taken down. So there will be a considerable saving this year. So we'll move on with the form to be approved. Oh, sorry. Can all those cheques be approved? Yep. Please. All in favour? Yep.
The precincts have already decided, but we've got the form, so if you could sign that, it's £31,000 that you agreed at the last meeting to maintain.
Is that the same?
It's the same as last year. And also the Public Works Loan Board, again, as advised, we're now paying them by direct debit, and that's now gone through and been sorted. Thank you.
The newsletter, copier. Anything else?
I don't think there's much I want to say.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
The Home PC Heritage Project. Rob?
Yeah, but I think everybody's got a handout. We've been on Churchill, we've had a look around. We've also got Les Ball, who's an artist. He was the one who did the artwork on the Heritage Board. We asked his advice. We also had a look at the footpaths up there while we were there. And also the brick system that anybody's seen. Anybody had a look at that?
I'm aware that there is one.
But yeah, we're going to go and have a look. It's quite surprising. It's a fantastic piece of brickwork. And also the post, the ROC post as well. So we're going to incorporate those two things into our heritage project as we go. The other thing we're doing is we're having a detailed look at any problem areas of any of the footpaths. An example of this would be Shipton Lane, where the Bulworth Rail Trail comes onto Shipton Lane, it crosses the road, goes back down towards Gallimore, and then goes down the side of Gallimore. It then continues to cross Market Wheaton Road and go down the side, crosses Market Wheaton Road, down the side of Stray Farm. And that's a problem area which needs our attention. So that type of problem is what we're looking at, and we're going to see what we can do to improve safety and this confrontation issues that are down there. And what I mean by confrontation issues are traffic, the intimidating effect of traffic. I've been at the local access forum today, been talking to Ross Stanley about the verge path thing again, and they are going to advise us on whether or not we can use verge paths in that location to help the situation. So we are ongoing with this. We are going to have a meeting in the Christmas week. We're going to try and get down to some stuff on paper, which is recommendations for us to go forward. When Les Ball gets back to us with some ideas about panoramic boards, we want to turn that up to a wider discussion. We want views from more people. We think there may be 3 boards up there. That will be where the bulk of the money will be spent. The only other thing as well, of course, is liaison with our neighbours, and that means Gordon Shields of Newport, who is doing the Market Link Canal River from the project. We're liaising with Gordon all the time. He's preparing a bid for leader funding as we speak. I've also got Ian Miller from Market Link Civic Society, to become involved in the Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Heritage Project. And this is good news because we've got 2 people from neighbouring counties who are going to be with us and see the connectivity issues that relate to our paths into their paths. But not only that, our attempt to develop the Market corridor into a throughway from the Humber, and that's the Penham Trail, through all the way to the Hudson Trail, up at Market Week. We've got a nice little bunch of people now, and of course, if anybody wants to offer any suggestions, advice, or even join us at a meeting or whatever, everybody's very welcome. But we're trying to get our heads down and get some of the hard work done in preparation for ourselves making a bid to raise get a grant for the which the boards on the hill are going to cost some money, I think, and so we need to get a good bid put together for that. So that's where we are.
Well, thank you, Gordon. Anyone any comments on it?
I'm more than happy to, sort of dig in now. Obviously, time is a difficulty, but I think it is a very good thing to do across parish, and it's a very sensible idea. I have spoken to Gordon in the past about it. I am aware of the Market Week Canal project in the Pool now.
That's fantastic.
And of course, I want to drain the water as well.
Well, because, and of course, Andrew is involved in the Holmes project, so
Yes.
we're trying to get this thing.
Well, I realise that. Obviously, you'll appreciate that I'm limited on the amount of time I can put in, but I'm certainly very supportive.
You might be able to help grease the passage. But you know what? I think, Victoria, you were at Bishop Burton. Was it last week?
Yeah, I was.
And there's this Natural England thing. Was it Natural England?
No.
What was it called? And the Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Heritage Project was used as an example of a village project and how villages can actually get together and influence the such things as we're doing.
Oh, it can hugely. And I'm a passionate believer that the more proactive the community is, the more we can get. You can't just rely on leaving it to the parish council or your local council.
Well, it's got to be, because otherwise it won't happen.
No, it has to be community-led, all these things.
There were almost 100 parish councils represented at Bishop Burton last week. You were there, Victoria, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Steve Howell was there, and you meet Stephen there.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him today. And our project was used in the sessions as an example of what a parish could do. And I think that's fantastic, really. And so we've got some goodwill in Beverley, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, we have. And in actual fact, it surprises me that because I can really be banging my head against the brick wall when it comes to potholes, but if we've got a community project, then it seems to be a lot more fluid. So, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, Victoria.
Just on the side note, I might have contact who might be able to help us even more with the house of course, but I'll
Send it on.
You've obviously seen is it Swanland, the trogs?
No.
No.
The walkways that are in the verge that have been made hard, like hard stone walkways.
Yes, I've seen those, yeah. I think they are trots. Yes,
Yeah,
something like
trots.
that.
Yeah, trots.
They're like perhaps a bit of sort of grit.
Yeah, it's basically they've cut out a bit of the verge and put grit into it. And there's examples I think it's
I
Swanland.
think it could be Swanland, yeah.
And when the Verges people came to Budworth, they mentioned and showed us pictures of it.
They like them, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, you know the people who came to Budworth, Ross Stanley and Hazel Alexander. Those two are people who we are going to liaising with. So thanks for that, Steve. Yeah.
Might be worth mentioning. I don't know what sort of costs are involved.
Swanland Trots.
Something like trogs or trolls.
It's a Yorkshire wood with stepping stone.
Sorry?
Trod. It's a Yorkshire wood with stepping stone.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
trot.
yeah,
I think they're trots, certainly, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know whether there's any link in there.
Something I'd try something that's...
I'd try and
They've got quite a distinct with this Verges thing now. There's one at Walkington along with as well. And I think that this is well suited. I think what we first of all worried about was that people really wanted all the Verges done, but no, it's not the case.
No, it's only a thin strip. It's not a whole.
What it would be also it would be a specific place to relieve a specific problem. So if you've got a corner you can't get around,
Yeah.
that's where your verge path is. And the rest of the verge is just left the same.
Yeah, and there's connectivity as well between one parish and another. You know, in some communities where you've got, I don't know, I'm speaking off the top of my head, maybe between Elton and Bubbith, for example, or you know, sort of Grimsthorpe and Fogthorpe. I'm not quite sure. Maybe Harswell and Holme-on-Spalding-Moor. You know, sort of those little parishes where they don't have a lot of footpaths and things like that anyway. But there may be somewhere where you can actually just link it in so that you can walk between.
It's just more or less a safety element. They're looking at it at Budworth, between Budworth and Breaton.
Right, yeah.
To link in Breaton, and most of it is fine, but there's areas where something needs to be done, otherwise you have to walk on the road.
Yes, yeah. And if you can get it so that it's reasonably clean and dry, then people will definitely go. In the summer it's not so much of an issue because they'll walk on the grass.
Well, the Holme-on-Spalding-Moor has got a busy road in it. It's got to be something that we've got to go and see. See, I think it'd be a good idea if maybe we should talk to your people and look at just even just a little bit of advice.
Nothing has been done yet. They're still at the thinking about the stage, if you like.
Well, it's better than
But yeah, when things are put into more depth or whatever, then I'll do that thing.
We're hoping to start to progress this thing in the spring.
Okay, lovely. Conservation issues.
So I'm still waiting back from the conservation volunteers. They're looking at putting together a grant for a management plan for the pond, and I've not heard back yet.
Okay, thank you. Further on the Moor events. Nothing ongoing at the moment. No. Village in Bloom. Not a lot happening. All the winter plants are in. Apart from the two beds on the corner of Old Road there, we've got the Richie Grove problem. Yes, Grove, I knew it. Anyway, yeah, so our thoughts are, or our top man's thoughts are that we will probably plant either primulas or primroses in March. By that time, the grubs may have been filled up by frost. They may have gone a metre down and not be bothering at that point. But that's the thought. We've kept a few in the appropriate plants back, so we can brighten that day up. Right. The reports. Fine.
We've got residents, the Chinese complaining, faulty access.
Access.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lady there that has to go and see her parents every day. She goes 3 times a day. And the few times she hasn't been able to go because people are being back to possible.
Same one.
I send you the information as to what to do with that, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that to the bloke who complained to me, yeah.
That's as much as I think we can do, is to give that information to them. And it's up to them. There's a cost involved, and they're not forgetting that.
Tell about the white line.
Yeah, you've got no parking.
Oh, there we go, yeah. But I pass it, perhaps I'll pass on the same information I get
I'll
to.
But the police.
So this is, sorry, is this the same person that might say
No.
that?
Paul.
No.
I think he's complained to me again.
I'll pass on the information, Mike, if you give it to him.
Yeah,
Please.
so yeah, that's not one. And a couple of the elderly residents who've been complaining about when they're walking around the village that the hedgerows has got far too far into the path. And he's going to actually, well, there's a couple of them going to let me know where these problems are.
If you do that, I'll look at it and write to them if you're happy with me making a decision that it is a problem.
Yeah.
And I'll drop a nice letter.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Go on.
I've heard someone being on to me about. Did you and Steve address the village hall committee?
Yes.
Yeah. There's some kind of rumour going around about the village hall is going to be rebuilt or something. Is there anything?
Shouldn't listen to rumours, don't
You're getting
you? I've heard absolutely nothing.
You're getting a bit of fundraiser out of that, yeah?
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything at all.
I'm
I
not
was going
listening.
to ask if you knew anything about it.
No, I'm not listening.
But you didn't
No, we addressed the committee, we left it with them.
I should forget about it now.
What was the address, sorry? You found this?
Just some suggestions for the village hall for the future.
Right.
It wasn't a parish council addressing it.
No, no.
I think it was
No, no.
two private people addressing the village hall committee.
Ah, right,
So
okay.
it was just, it was nothing to do with the parish council then?
No.
Well, only from the point of view that if they thought our suggestions were in any way worthy, then perhaps myself and Steve and any other parish council that wanted to get involved could. But that was a try, and we've heard nothing, so I'm presuming
What was the ideas and proposals?
Sorry, possibly a new village hall.
Right.
These are just your ideas?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know I have occasionally.
Yeah, that's fine. You understand, so they said, with the parish councils getting involved in rebuilding the village hall.
No, we've heard nothing back from the village hall, so
It's got nothing to concern the parish council.
not at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
So somebody on the village hall committee is talking to someone. Maybe it's not me.
I don't know. It's not me.
Are they secret meetings? Are they public meetings?
As far as I know, they're all public meetings. Any meeting has got to be public.
The village hall, I'm not sure. We need to look at this. We've been discussing this because it's to do with the trustee. And there are some meetings which are literally trustees only. And at that point, some people aren't allowed to attend. I mean, Anthea is a representative, not a trustee, so Anthea wouldn't be invited to trustee-only meetings.
Well, that's what
No.
It's just not the ship.
I think it is an issue. It's a matter of an issue for Holme-on-Spalding-Moor, isn't it?
I made a suggestion, Gordon. That's it. I made a suggestion.
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
If they haven't,
If that's what it is, that's fine. But I think if someone asked me and then I asked this room, it's quite, it's quite okay for me to expect an answer, and you've given me an answer, that's fine. Yeah. But it is an issue. Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Village Hall, I can tell you now, Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Village Hall is an issue for everybody in this
that's
village.
what I thought.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well, if everything that's been said between two people is brings to this committee meeting,
I think it's just
Yeah.
clarifying the capacity in which the two gents attended the meeting, really, isn't it?
Someone just asked me, I'm a parish councillor, that they're concerned. I don't know anything at all. But, I mean, I get asked all sorts of things, I'm sure you do.
had there been any reply from them, a positive reply, then I would have brought it to the council and told them what my suggestion might have been.
Peter, I understand entirely, because if I go to the local access forum, I don't represent Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Parish Council.
See, once if I put it to the council before I go to before I talk to the committee, then it's public knowledge, and then everybody's jumping up and down. And if nothing comes of it, we just had a quiet word, spoke to them, no more than 2 minutes of my time, and as far as I'm concerned, it's gone now. And yes, I appreciate that the village hall is a serious matter for the village.
It's a serious matter for every person in the village, not just for the committee. And it's the same as all the issues in Holme-on-Spalding-Moor and for everybody. And what this room discusses and what these parish councils are aware of is for everybody, not just for us. These are not secret meetings. No.
It was never meant to be
No,
secret.
that's fine.
I didn't actually publish it in local papers, but it wasn't secret. Lots of
I
people.
understand that, yeah.
Sorry, anything else, Gordon?
No, that's it, thank you.
Anthea? No? Ian?
Dogmas again, but it's been addressed because it wasn't here, but
No.
the bag has been.
Okay. Ennis?
2 or 3 potholes on the road going up to the church. That is a council road.
He said.
So if you bring that to the notice, please.
I have done that already. I've
You
told
have?
you so.
Oh, that's all right. Thank you, that's all.
Anthea?
Just the CCTV footage I told you about last time. The police have now had it all and they've had a look at it and they're fairly hopeful that they will be able to progress that further. So just so that, you know, that's as much as I know. I don't know any more than that. The other thing is just a sort of an idea, really. Something I'm interested in is astronomy, and this is a lovely area for it. And they're really, really short of dark skies areas, and I wondered whether we could look at seeing if we could try to do something to get this a certified area, some parts of it at least, as dark sky areas, i.e. not polluted by streetlights, because we do have a lovely sort of area and there are lots of places you can go where you can see the Milky Way, for example, with the naked eye. And I just wondered if that would be something I could look into.
I'm no problem in looking into it.
Maybe that's something to work the garden on, especially for the ROC post. That's why it's there, the ROC post. We're observing.
I'd imagine that's as good a spot as any.
Yeah, because it's the sort of thing that would help with tourism and things, because people...
It's very interesting tourist link, and it just, you know, sort of, we might even be able to hook these right into that.
Well, that's it, because and I know they're desperately short of places, and we've got such fabulous viewing conditions.
Right.
Let's shout about it, is what I'm thinking. But it's, you know, I can look into it. I haven't done it.
Look into it, and that will see if it fits into the. We can put it to the heritage committee, can't we?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah,
It's
do that.
it's really touristy.
Ash?
I've had complaints about the trees overhanging the road at McCall's that were in the rain. Is there anything you can do about that?
One thing only.
Are these McCall's trees?
Well, they're the ones that belong to the actual shop.
Yeah, they belong to the shop.
Yeah.
And are they, excuse me, are they round the back or?
They're behind the fence, level with the roadway,
Right.
and the fence, and the trees are behind. But they've actually got massive now with the conifers, and they really are big, and people are complaining about them.
Okay.
Quad bikes on Beaton View is a complaint again. Tearing down the streets on Beaton View. Is there anything we can do, or is it a police matter?
Are they licensed?
Pardon?
Are they licensed?
I haven't a clue. Don't know.
Some of them are licensed, aren't they? That's what I'm...
We've always said that things like the police matter.
It's a police matter.
And the speed on Run End will be a police matter as well, I would have thought. I'm going too fast. We done the light at... the light at Bull Lane End, you know, belongs to the farmer. Victor. Is shining up the road again. In fact, I come back, you would have come by there tonight.
I don't see it's a problem of something.
Well, I know for a fact that he asked the policeman about that.
Yeah.
He did, because he knew I said there would have been a complaint about it. And the policeman's comment was, if that's a distraction, they are concentrating too much on the road.
I don't think it's as bad as it was. I looked at it.
Did he alter it? He advised me that
Well, I
he had
think he
altered
altered it
it.
back again.
For him, he hasn't been good for 2 months.
Oh, well. Because he
Understood.
shines right at the road, he's going on that bend, you can see it. It looks like there's a car coming, there's not.
Well, he had some advice from the police.
Right.
Slows him down, if anything.
The 30 sign limits near the pond and Sudbury Road aren't working. They're not coming
I
on.
didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
The 30 sign limit, the flasher,
The one.
they're not working either at Sudbury Road end or at the pond corner. They're working, but not to well over 30. They don't come on.
They need
They
recalibrated.
need
you're saying.
sorting, yeah. And that's it.
Thank you much. Ian?
No.
I'm sure a couple of things. A complaint, number of cars down Sands Lane, and a couple of them next door on Saturday evening. I was one of them. Eggs.
You were throwing eggs about me.
Not really personally, Ennis, no. My car managed to catch a kill. Because I had no idea. Just a walk from the bungalow, get in the car and drive away. We were parked in the garden centre and walking back to the car. I hadn't noticed. But yes, I've got to make an inquiry. Someone thinks the eggs were stolen, possibly from Pullet Farm at the end of the lane. I'll ask the person there. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone involved with Christmas lights switch on night, all those involved inside and out, especially Mike and Ian that stood on road closing. and a good friend of mine from the ACF, who, with one of his lads, stood and took some abuse at the Moor. And of course, Pete and Steve, who put the little trees up, and Peter, who put the lights on the big tree. It was a great help. So, thanks very much. And one or two comments made, one in particular, that there was a period of dead time between the road closures at 5 o'clock, which is, looking back, it's probably a little early, and Santa Claus arriving near 7. So we will look at everything we've done and get a tighter schedule for all of that. I did mention earlier that we've made a considerable saving on this year's Christmas trees, doing them ourselves. And I had this suggestion put to me, that the calls at Runner End, because we can't get in to put decent lights on, and the ones didn't appear to be on tonight. But we don't bother with Christmas trees for the calls at Runner End. We buy some Christmas flags in daylight, they're just as visible as anything else, and they're a lot cheaper. And that's coming.
Can I just bring the Christmas trees up again? Are there any spare trees then?
No. We ordered 25 and we have 25.
Look, I signed a request yesterday that Roger Patterson said his house was never been asked to have Christmas trees up.
No.
He would like them.
It would, but there was a policy made that it would be commercial purposes only.
Yes. Well, these are commercial, but what have you? And he said he would have liked to have been asked if he could have the trees up.
We'll just go back really before my friends nice.
So no spare trees?
No spare trees, but we can shoot some brackets up.
What about the ones at the poles out if they aren't working then?
Well, the trees are up in the brackets. It's the lights, the ones at Runner End are a battery pack light, and they're very weak. The ones at the poles in the centre of the village are the same.
Yeah.
And if you look at them, you've got to be right close up to see anything. But hopefully next year we may have access, and I believe we've got the flat above shopping town now. But the one at Runner End, we're never going to get access to major electricity. I think the school road windows shut. So it's just a suggestion that's been made to me that we could save 30 quid on trees and spend half of that on a couple of flags. And that's it for me. So, correspondence.
Yeah, there was the thing on the agenda there, letter from Sharon Smith, which you all had a copy of.
Everyone read the letter?
Oh, that's something else. I was asked to ask, had Sharon written the letter back in reply to Helen Williamson's letter? She said she would do it.
No idea.
Oh, I don't know, I just have to ask you.
Has anyone any comments about this letter? I have one, Sharon. There is no agreement between us and East Riding. No one owns the land, as you know. We've tried to establish it, and I think we should just leave it and let East Riding carry on putting it. If we push for a formal agreement, they'll say no, and it will be on our cost. That's my feeling. If somebody at East Riding, looks and says, well, it's not our land, we shouldn't be doing this, then all we'll get is a cost to keep putting it.
The main issue was that the bins were not being emptied.
Yeah.
And I think I recall that the dog bin was going to be removed because it was dangerous anyway.
Well, we could speak to them nicely about that.
About the
dog bin and the litter bin, between the two tickets.
The bin is emptied at times.
No, but the actual state of the dog bin, it was suggested that it was dangerous and it was going to be removed.
Is it next to the litter bin in my ignorance?
Yeah.
I haven't been for a while. Well, perhaps we should take out the dog bin altogether, because the dog mess can be put into the litter bin.
You can go straight into normal litter bin.
So I could get that removed, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
That's a good idea. Right. Anything else? Okay. If not, then the next meeting of Holme-on-Spalding-Moor Parish Council will be held at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday the 21st of January. We will have an early start.
Yeah, we'll do 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock start. for discussion about 55 houses.
And then the 0.5% will be the 55 houses.
Child protection.
Child protection officer as well.
Child protection officer.
Yeah, it's going to be 7.
Seven.
Sorry, I've got it the wrong way around. 7 got child protection, then at half 7 we'll talk about the extra
I
houses.
can make the child protection, well, it's not, the vulnerable person man at quarter to it.
Brief on what I'm up to.
Yes,
Is that all right?
Yes.
Sorry, just before you give them Just
right,
you meeting closed now, but it's just sort of some general information, just so that you know. I speak obviously a lot to Steve, but I've been particularly busy this autumn on the back of, and I think to be fair, on the back of the Rotherham case with child protection issues. Just this is purely, I'm not giving you any information because there's a review going on at the moment, but I'm telling you that I am a part of that review. And what obviously we're looking into, there's an issue as far as we're aware in East Riding, but we're just looking to make sure that all the systems and processes are in the right place, and so that were there to be an issue that the officers were handling it in the correct way. I'm conscious that there was a huge amount of media coverage earlier in the year, and just to reassure you that as elected members there are it's a closed review. It's one that I can't tell you what's going on in it, but there is a review going on, and we are looking at systems and procedures within the East Riding. But what I can say to you is that that's not because we have any particular fears. It's something that's happening across the country. Okay. And we're also doing a review into child mental health issues. There's what they call CAMS. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that actually means, but basically it's
child and adolescent mental health.
That's it, child and adolescent mental health, and that's another review. And for my sins, I'm on that as well, and that's looking into if we have an issue within our community. And the reason I'm telling you this is that I see you guys as being part of the system, because obviously you are responsible residents within the community. If you do have an issue, then please don't hesitate to, if you think there might be an issue within a family or in a whatever environment, then don't hesitate to contact me so that I can, or directly to what we call a golden number, which I can give you if you haven't got that, but you should have that. And that's basically just to sort of mark on a tally that you've got concerns, and then official officers can then sort of look into that and investigate. You know the golden number?
I've never even heard of that.
All right. Well, it's in your East Riding as a regular thing. You know the magazine, so it is there. It's a public domain number. Let me just see if I've got it in as golden number. I will get it to Steve tomorrow, and you can email it out to you all. It's in here somewhere, but I also can't remember. If there are but yeah, so just so you know, obviously it is part of our responsibility as citizens of the community to keep our eyes and ears open. Okay? So that's just part of, but it's something that you're not seeing me doing, but